Prologue. Ravenswood Manor had stood at the edge of the town for over a century, its grand facade now weathered and decayed. The townsfolk whispered about the house, speaking of the inexplicable events and disappearances associated with it. For years, no one dared to approach it, let alone live there, that is, until the Thorne family moved in. Chapter 1. Arrival. The Thorne family, James, his wife Eleanor, and their children, Emma and Jack, arrived at Ravenswood Manor on a sunny afternoon. The air was filled with a sense of new beginnings, and the children's laughter echoed as they explored their new home. James, a history professor, was fascinated by the manor's rich past, while Eleanor saw it as a chance to start anew after some personal tragedies. Chapter 2. First Night. The first night in Ravenswood Manor was peaceful, but Emma, the youngest of the Thorne children, woke up feeling cold and unsettled. Shadows seemed to dance across her bedroom walls, and she thought she heard soft whispers calling her name. She dismissed it as her imagination and went back to sleep. Chapter 3. Unexplained Events. As days turned into weeks, strange occurrences became more frequent. Eleanor noticed cold spots in certain rooms, and objects seemed to move on their own. Jack, the eldest, found old journals and letters in the attic, detailing the lives of the original inhabitants. The writing spoke of strange rituals and an obsession with contacting the dead. Chapter 4. The Spirit's Presence. Emma began to see a ghostly figure of a young boy in her room. At first, he seemed friendly, but as the nights passed, his presence became more menacing. The family heard footsteps at odd hours, and doors would slam shut with no explanation. Emma tried to tell her parents, but they dismissed it as nightmares. Chapter 5. The Seance. Desperate for answers, Eleanor invited a local medium, Madame Valentina, to perform a seance. During the seance, Madame Valentina made contact with Margaret Ravenswood's spirit, who warned them that the house was cursed. She revealed that the spirit of her lost son, Edward, was trapped and angry, seeking revenge on anyone who entered the manor. Chapter 6. The Final Confrontation. On the night of the ritual, the family gathered in the basement. As James recited the incantation, the spirit of Edward appeared, his face twisted with rage. Objects flew across the room, and the ground shook. Emma, remembering a passage from one of Margaret's journals, stepped forward and spoke to Edward, pleading with him to let go of his anger. Epilogue. The Thorne family decided to stay in the manor, determined to restore its former glory. They knew that the house had a dark past, but they also believed it could have a bright future. Ravenswood Manor was no longer haunted by its history, but rather enriched by it, as the Thorne family embraced both the light and the shadows of their new home.